going to start with train and think like an athlete. Okay. Picture your dog as a human athlete. If your dog, even if you have a working dog, like what would be the equivalent? What kind of athlete, if it was like a human athlete, what would be the equivalent? So my dog, I did a ChatGPT and I asked AI, what would my dog be instead of MMA fighter? So if we look here, we saw some mixed martial arts, agility, endurance, explosive power, quick reactions, mentally tough, precision under pressure. There you go. There is your MMA fighter, a wrestler. So I want you to be thinking about your dogs as, an athlete. What would be the human equivalent? And what I want you to do is to think about if you were a professional MMA fighter, if you were, an Olympic level pole vaulter, right? Cross country. So what does it mean to train and to think like an athlete? So think about it. What are the components if your dog is, say, the equivalent of a human cross country runner? What might be missing in your program? What might there be things you would do as a cross runner athlete that you could carry over into your dog? So this is what I want you to think about. And I'm so guilty of this, thinking about our dog just like we're training our dog versus we're training an athlete. Okay. And I want you to let me know if any of this resonates with you. Put on the hat. I'm just training my dog. So typically what we'll see is a single-minded approach, right? It's like, oh, we're going to go and I'm going to do agility. I'm just going to go do my agility skills, right? I'm going to go to practice my bite work. We're going to go mushing every weekend. We have our passion and we just train that passion, right? And that's our focus. It's pretty singular. Search and rescue. Let's just go do our search and rescue training, right? It's frequently the weekend warrior. So, we're very, very busy in the week and on the weekend we train. Many times we just take it day by day. It's like, what are we going to train today? Oh, it's Saturday. What should we work on today? Right? They get mysterious injuries. You're like, gosh, I wonder, how did that injury? Like, he just mysteriously ended up injured. How did that happen? Right? And then a lot of times we learn things just by trial and error. Well, let's readjust it and try this. No, that didn't work. Oh, let's try that. Oh, that didn't work. Hey, let's try this tomorrow. Did that work? I did. That worked. So it's a lot of trial and error. Now, I want you to think about what's it mean to train and think like an athlete. Number one, it's a multi-pronged approach. So look at a gymnast, cross country, swimmer, triathlon, sprint, long jumper, the cheerleader, long jump, marathon runner, right? Martial arts. What are a high level athlete? What are they doing? They're not just out there like, rolling on the mats. They're not out there just throwing a football, right? They're getting massages, they're stretching, they're doing cross training, they're resting, right? It's a multi-pronged approach. Also, it's a lifestyle, right? Nutrition. It's what you're thinking about, what you eat, staying hydrated, the food you eat. Hopefully you're not like just living out of bags of potato chips, right? So it's a lifestyle. And it kind of, even if you're not training, it's like you need to get your sleep, right? Also, you're working towards particular goals. What are you aiming for? What are your goals? You have very specific things and skill sets and things that you're working on. We're working on stamina. We're working on a drill and skill, right? We're working on recovery, flexibility. Also, injury prevention is huge, right? You don't want to train for years to go to the Olympics and then all of a sudden you get injured 2 weeks before, right? You don't want to train for that national championship and then your dog ends up injured after the whole year of training or more, and then, right, you can't compete. Or if you have a working dog, you don't want your dog injured and then now they call you out and you can't go because your partner's injured. So injury prevention is huge and it's informed by science. So we take what we know about exercise recovery, how muscles work, energy sources. So you look at what we know, research, like what works, and we start applying it. It's not just this big trial and error. It's fed on, what do we know about the body and how the body develops and how the body gets stronger, what the body needs to recover. Okay. So what I want to encourage you from this point on is, if you're an athlete, what do you need to be doing? Warming up, cooling down, stretching, drills and skills, building endurance, rest and recovery, right? And those are the things that you want to be thinking about for your dog. Even if you're not competing at a national level, maybe some of you just have really active, family pet companions. But if you want them to be their best and also help prevent injury, I would encourage you, all our dogs are athletes. It's just the degree of how high of an athlete they are, right, will vary. And then also training and thinking like an athlete is you ask questions why. When something happens, and I've seen this happen many, many times, for example, A dog is jumping and they start knocking the jump. Things are happening and they're not giving you the results that you want. And a lot of times people will turn and say, it's the dog, it's the training. He's unfocused, he's not paying attention. But when you come at it from kind of a researcher perspective, you're like, my dog normally never hits the jumps. Why is he knocking the poles now? My dog never slips when he runs around the blinds. Why is my dog right now sliding and slipping on the grass? Right? So it's now that mentality. It's not, you don't just immediately say, my dog's not paying attention. Oh, it's a training problem. But it's approaching it a little bit more with that researcher, kind of the why, and looking at it more closely, because there's so many things that can be going on. So those are some things that will help you kind of think about, what are you doing? So what's missing? So are you doing simple things that you can be doing like right away, like warming up your dog, training your dog, just getting those muscles loosened up, keeping them well hydrated, right? Getting enough rest and recovery and sleep. Might be post-exercise recovery, cross-training. How many of you cross-train? Some of you are doing multiple sports, so you're getting some cross-training there, but how many of you cross-train in things that are maybe not exactly your sport drills and skills or your activities? Like you're out doing other things to supplement your training, right? So those might be things. The body needs that mixture. So those are some things to be thinking about when you're approaching your dog like an athlete.